You're listening to Disney Differently.
Following sponsors for.
Hey everybody, and I gotta tell you about, listen, I'm a pretty big coffee drinker, just like a lot of these people have got coffee right. Their coffees are made from selectively sourced premium and specialty grade Arabica beans. They provide the absolute best flavor and aroma, and select roast even come directly from a single estate farm for a truly perfect cup that is never bitter. They've got awesome Disney-inspired flavors such as Roundhouse Roast, Route 66, Skipper's Brew, Dark Side Roast, Redhead Rum, and one of my favorites, Bob Slitter's Brew. Listen, if you want to have the taste of Disney in every cup, give them a try today. ExpeditionRoasters.com, and Behind the Ears podcast listeners gets an extra 20% off your first order by using the coupon code EARS20. That's right, EARS20. And you can find them over at ExpeditionRoasters.com. Brew your happy place. If you have a little one and you're going to Walt Disney World, you're going to need a stroller. I'll tell you what, KingdomStrollers.com is the place where you want to look into. I'll tell you, I've destroyed my fair share of strollers while at Walt Disney World, and those things are not cheap. But getting something from KingdomStrollers.com, they'll be able to help you pick out the perfect stroller for you. And the nice part is that because they're a Disney preferred provider, they'll be able to drop it off and pick it up right from your Disney resort at no extra charge. So if you don't want to necessarily destroy your stroller in the process and you want to have a great Disney vacation with your little one, contact KingdomStrollers.com and they'll set you right up. That's KingdomStrollers.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic, groovy, super duper episode of the Behind Ears podcast. I am your host tonight, Mr. Chris. Uncle Danny will be here momentarily. He is temporarily tied up, so to speak. But it's okay because this is Special Feature Thursday. That's right. We are continuing the tradition of special features on Thursday. This is when we are going to have a special guest, have a cool trip report, talk about a specific topic. And tonight, I am glad to be joined by Bryan Socha, and he is going to talk with us about some of his VIP tour experiences. Now, let me tell you a little something. I've been wanting to talk about this for quite some time. And Bryan, I was really glad when you reached out to me and you said, hey, if you want to talk about VIP tours, I'm your man. And dude, I'm really glad to have you. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me again.
So kind of as we get started here, I know that right around the time that the Toy Story Land opening was happening, you kind of reached out to me and you told me that you were doing a VIP tour with them. And I was actually kind of wondering a little bit about what that actually entailed. I was wondering if you can kind of give us a little bit of a rundown on just, overview on, what do VIP tours that you've experienced actually really include? Because I think some people don't have a really good idea of what they may or may not include for that matter.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. It's Disney's best cast members, and they kind of take you around. And some of the tours are catered to a topic. Actually, I just happened to look it up. For instance, right now they're doing an Ultimate Day of Thrills, Disney Classics, and an Ultimate Night of Adventure. Those are per person. However, the tour I did for Toy Story Land was a different one we'll get into in a moment. And I guess we'll do the Ultimate Thrills because that was the first VIP tour I ever did. And basically, you go around 3 of the parks. They do drive you between parks, and you go on what Disney considers a thrill. So, for instance, it'll be like Splash Mountain, Pirates, Haunted Mansion, Space Mountain, and then that's like your first hour.
Wow.
And you very quickly go through the park, and then you hop over to the next one. You go through that park. Then you have lunch somewhere nice. At the time I went, they were using Brown Derby for lunch. That's included in the price.
Wow. Okay.
For this specific tour. Some of the tours are shorter and they don't have a lunch. It's about a 7-hour tour. You start about 8, you end about 2 in the afternoon. And you just kind of bounce around 3 of the parks. It's revised a little bit. For instance, they stopped going to Hollywood Studios and they started doing a little bit of Epcot when they started doing construction.
Right.
And I'm sure it's about to be revised again now with Toy Story opening.
Sure, and it'll probably be revised yet again, even more so, especially once Galaxy Edge comes out. And I'm pretty sure that as soon as that opening date is actually solidified, I can guarantee that those VIP tours are going to fly off the shelves like bread and soda right before a hurricane.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do one, and I could look it up here real quick. They have one called the Ultimate Night of Adventure, which is basically everything in Animal Kingdom.
Oh, wow.
I think that's 4 hours. It's still kind of pricey. I mean, they're up at like $240 a person or somewhere priced around there. But the right circumstance, it might be the perfect add-on. And one of the places I actually have recommended some people, like one is my father was coming in, ultimate Pandora fan, and I'm like, this sounds like a great night for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be great to have like a father-son trip around Animal Kingdom that's no one in your way, guided, a little bit extra treatment, quick 4 hours, which he can still do. He's starting to get a little bit slowed down mobility wise.
Okay, I can see that. Does that include park admission, or is that in addition to your park admission?
It does not include park admission.
Okay, so you have to have either an AP, some park days, or whatever in order to be able to do this.
And if you're doing one of the hopping tours, it has to be a park hopper.
Okay, that's a good clarification. But I think you're right. I mean, it actually seems really cool to basically be guided through the attraction. So you're in essence fast passing everything, aren't you?
Yeah, and in the case of those, it's a little bit more because the tour group is actually pretty big. So there's like little support people that are like clearing the way early, and it's really interesting to see when you're on it.
Oh, so like it's actual, not quite red carpet, but you're, people are actually doing things before you actually experience, huh?
Pretty much. It'd be a little thing like, for instance, in Magic Kingdom, don't walk past Small World. You're not going to fit. So you'll take a slightly alternative route with no traffic because there's people out spotting.
Oh, okay. I kind of see what you're saying. Now, the group that you were with for Toy Story Land, was that a pre-selected group of people? Like, did you coordinate that? Was that coordinated through somebody else? Did you all just sign up for that particular tour and you were all strangers, or how did that actually work out for you?
So I knew everyone there. So basically a couple days beforehand, I decided I couldn't figure out how to make the day work without some fast pass help. And I started seeing some odd people talking about VIP tours, and I just happened to call up and they just happened to have a person available. And I just went for it. And then I started inviting people I knew. Everyone with the exception of my daughter is some type of creator. Most of them are on YouTube. Some of them branch out to other ones, but they're primarily YouTubers.
Okay. So it was like, it was a small group. I think you said it was a group of 10 people was the maximum in the group. Is that correct?
Yeah. So this is the private VIP tour. This is the one where you pay hourly. And it's a maximum of 10 per guide. So if you want to do 20, you have to get 2 guides and pay double the price. Okay. But it's up to 10 on one guide. So
let me ask you this. How much was it per person?
So the price we paid for that day, it would have broken down to $350 a person.
For how many hours?
7.
See, that's really not that bad. I mean, like you said, that's a yes, it sounds like a lot of money, and yeah, it is a lot of money. $350 a person is not necessarily, that's not chump change. But if you're getting a VIP experience, something that, like what Michelle said, VIP tours on her bucket list, that is actually something that's really not bad, because I mean, it's what, $350, 7, that's 7 hours. I mean, it's really not that bad per hour. I mean, if you think about it.
The funny thing is at 9 a.m. So we were scheduled to start at 8 a.m., which is when rope drop was supposed to happen.
Sure.
They didn't bother to tell us that we could get in earlier, but we had scheduled for 8 a.m. By 9:30, we're looking at going, what are we going to do the rest of the day? Because we ran through Toy Story Land so many times so quick that we started wondering what we're going to do and where we should go.
So were you allowed, especially with that being the opening day of Toy Story Land, were you allowed to basically do rides multiple times if that is what the group so chose to do?
Yes, there was one spot where all the VIP guides got paid saying, can you slow down a little bit? Because I've never really noticed how many VIP tours are actually in the park, but since you're actually trying to pay attention to the plaid clothing on your tour guide so you don't lose them, it was really interesting to see how fast and how many groups were just going right back on Slinky Dog. And I started feeling bad. I'm sure the tour groups were about 2 of the hours of the wait. Because 10 people, only 9 rows, the thing only holds 18 people.
True.
So a VIP group of 10, and everyone had 10. No one skimped out and just came like as a couple. So obviously the rides were one thing, and obviously you guys spent some time there at Toy Story Land, which was obviously the big hit of the day. In fact, that's where you and I ran into each other briefly, as well as I was enjoying some tachos. So the question I have for is like, is it more than just getting onto rides? I mean, are the tour guides actually, providing insight and information into either the attractions that you're doing, any special features, hints, tips, tricks, history, or other items like that? What kind of information are you getting from the VIP tour guides at the same time? They pretty much know everything, and they know odd everythings. So they're used to dealing with celebrities, and they can make use of backstage areas if that's the better way to get between things, or if it's a high profile person and they just really can't be out too much in the open. So they little thing. Toy Story Land, they're just learning. I mean, it was first day.
Yeah.
But they had some stuff. Like they threw out that's one of the places I found out about the barcode and how everything is scannable. So,
and for those of you who may not have seen what Bryan posted on the WDW community page, there was a really cool Easter egg that was over on Slinky Dog. And not only did it include what was it? It was the founding date for Pixar, as well as the opening day for Walt Disney World. And you also made mention that the barcode is technically scannable. So if you had your phone and your phone had the ability to actually, scan a UPC barcode, it should come up with something. And now I am dying to find out what it actually comes up with. I would love to see if it would show up with something with a price tag of $7 million for Slinky Dog or something like that. That would be.
I really hope it goes to a Slinky Dog for sale page or or some behind the scenes or something. Looking back at pictures, and now that you know this, you'll look at your pictures. There's a lot of barcodes. Every toy, every box, everything has a barcode.
And the thing is that I took a lot of I love to take pictures, as a lot of people know. I actually took a lot of pictures of the inside of Toy Story Midway Mania, and I know there are barcodes in there that are all over the boxes, so to speak, within Andy's room. And I'm gonna have to go back to my pictures. I haven't uploaded all my pictures from my camera yet, but I'm going to have to see whether or not I have a picture of that barcode. And if I do, I gotta somehow finagle it to see if I can actually, get it to read somehow. And then at the same time, if I can't, I guess I'm just gonna have to go back out there to find out myself and go back on Slinky Dog and some of those other attractions. That's actually just real, that's real tripping to know that those barcodes are supposedly registered in such a way where, it'll take you somewhere. That's actually pretty tripping. I will say there have been times where I would see a barcode or a QR code The Big Bang Theory, the TV program, The Big Bang Theory, actually was really good about that. And there was one that if you scanned this particular QR code, it actually came up with, something of a fake web page for the comic book store that was owned by Stewart, which I thought was actually a nice touch. Well, that's actually pretty slick. So let me ask you this. Did you get any, I call it non-timed breaks for your time there? Like if you wanted to, if anybody had to stop, take a break, sit down for a minute, use the restroom or anything, were those all on the clock, or did you,
everything's pretty much on the clock.
Okay.
Essentially what you're doing is you're giving a person who's an expert of everything, who is going to guide and join your group as much as you want them to. So by default, they're very stand backish. They're just there to get you around. But and then they read you. We're a whole bunch of YouTubers. So the first thing we did was we walked up and said, okay, there's going to be a group you've never seen. We're going to get stopped every 10 seconds to say hi. We're going to lose people in between rides and they'll find us later. And you're more than welcome to jump on every ride with us.
Okay.
Which he loved. And he did it a very fair ways. So what he did is if there was an even number of people that made it to the ride, so Slinky Dog, it's 9 rows of 2.
Right.
So if there was an even number, he sat back and let us ride. If it was an odd number, he filled in the seat so the group didn't get someone else mixed into the group.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of standard how they do it. Obviously, if they're not up for the ride, I'm sure they won't do Tower of Terror 10 times with you. I'm sure different people have different ride tolerances, but they'll join you as much or as little as you want them to.
Okay. That's actually really pretty cool. So if you, obviously, I would think that would be kind of awkward that if you had like 10 people and you're like, no, we don't want you to ride with us. Go away. That would actually seem a little bit rude if you want to know. So,
well, we actually found out after the tour that our tour guide happened to be an Instagrammer. So he was just flipping out at everyone, how YouTube has different reactions with people. Mm-hmm. And everyone was there, and everyone was there early. So we literally were getting stopped every 10 seconds, and we would commonly lose people.
Yeah, okay, and I could see. And problem of it is though, is that it almost sounds like you would have to, kind of make sure everybody's together in order to get your most out of it. Otherwise, you don't really want to lose people. And I think that's probably a little bit easier to do, like if you're with a family group rather than. I don't want to say several independent people, if you kind of catch my drift. But I can understand that. So unfortunately I can't click on the screen in order to, show. I'm going to go ahead and give shout outs to a few of these. John was asking, are you taken to the front of the line on rides or fast passes?
So it works like an unlimited fast pass. Okay. So they just walk you into fast pass lines. However, if that's backed up, like when I ran into you, the fast pass line just happened to be back to where I got an eye shot of you while you were in line for food.
Yeah.
So if that wasn't it, we would have went right past, and I probably would have never found you.
True. Good point. Okay. Let's see. Faith was saying, subtract your lunch costs as well, which that, if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense. Is there a minimum number of hours that you can have a guide for? So for us, it was 7. It used to be 4. However, the website appears to have been updated, and I think 7 might be the new minimum. Okay. So in essence, you're really dedicating a good solid part of the day to this tour, but at the same time, you can pretty much get a whole heck of a lot done if you really wanted to do that. And the one thing to mention is, you want to watch spacing because, they're just people working also. So they won't go 16 hours with you. And I think you can do, like, on the first guide, you can do 8, and then you have to switch guides for the next 7. Wow. Okay. So, and obviously it would be, since it's an hourly rate, it would be the same. But where it kind of trips you up is if you need someone for 10 hours. Now suddenly you're paying for more than 10. That just seems like a lot. I mean, it seems like that you really have to be dedicated to what you're trying to do in a sense in the sense of attractions in order to have someone for 10 hours. I mean, did you feel like a 7-hour block of time with a VIP tour guide to be enough time, maybe even too much time, or for what you wanted to do, what's just right?
We were all ready for a nap by 10 a.m. We had ran around that fast. But no, I'd say 7 hours is probably a good amount. Also, you start getting into how many meals do you want to pay for the guy to be around with you? Like if you want to sit down, table service is generally 90 minutes. Do you really want to tack on another hour and a half of their time? So, and by the way, you are welcome to invite them to join you. They may say yes or may say no. However, you would be responsible for paying for them. So okay. For meals, like I don't know if I would use one on a day where I'm going to do parades or something, because it's anywhere from $4.25 to $6.25 an hour, depending on how in demand they are. Mm-hmm. So let's say it's $500 an hour. I don't really want to spend $250 to stand three spots next to where I would have stood anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's kind of more of a purpose-driven feature rather than, just at a whim type of thing. I mean, for me, it would be a bucket list item. I don't necessarily see this as one of those things I would be doing anytime soon, but it would be a bucket list item. And I think I would like to have something planned out beforehand, in a sense of we're going to do this, 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 and this. But yeah, waiting for a parade or something like that doesn't, I have to agree with you. That doesn't seem like it would be the coolest thing in the world. And at the same time, you're right. If you're going to sit down and enjoy a meal, especially at a table service place, and you're talking, like you said, 90 minutes, you're talking a minimum of an hour if you're lucky. And then you're paying for them on top of that, which, hey, that'd be nice. But, that's all coming out of your time, your pocket. That just seems like a big thing. Kelly was actually asking, any cool behind the scenes stuff? Like, did they take you, like, either did you go backstage for anything, and did you find out anything that might not necessarily be trivia that you knew before?
This particular one, we did not go backstage. However, that is not uncommon, because when you park up, you don't go through the front gate. You go. They have private vans that'll pick you up near where you happen to be. Mm-hmm. So things like park hopping. They used to use backstage when you first get there. My understanding is because of the new security policy, the first time you go in the park, you do have to go through the front, or they have something special set up. I've not done one where I got picked up at a resort, which is one of the features they will do. They will pick you up in their van and drive you as close to the gate as you can get. And it'll be even closer to minivans.
Well, the only thing is with that is now I'm assuming that the time would start right there, and now you're going to include commute time.
It does, but I think under certain circumstances that may not be horrible, because they know exactly where they're going and they get there quick.
A good point.
It's not like a minivan that's going to go the guest areas. They'll use every back road that you didn't even realize that you drove past 1,000 times. True.
I could definitely get that. Those little backstage roads that technically you might end up on, but you're really not still supposed to be on. That sort of thing. Like if you turn right outside of the Contemporary instead of turning left towards guest areas. Mm-hmm. Oops. Not that I've accidentally done that before. I was just following the GPS. Really, I was. Really, I didn't know it. It was too late. So yeah, let's see. Jason also wanted to give a shout out. He said, "Hey, we were a VIP for a couple hours with a great guy named Elton." Well, that's really cool. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Let's see. I'm kind of flipping through some comments here. Again, I apologize that I can't put all the comments up on the screen. Let's see. And he also said that he knew all the ins and outs of every ride, including the fireworks, which I thought was that's just really, really cool. Because some people don't, you think just fireworks is not necessarily, a big whoop-de-doo of a thing, but it could be really cool to understand how some of the fireworks works even. It's just a great part of the show. Well, now I see that my wife has joined us, and she says, I would love to do a VIP tour. Yay. That's awesome. Let's see. Mary was actually asking a question. I don't know, about this, but she was kind of asking, why would you need a 10-hour tour? Is it just the number of attractions, or do you think they're, in your opinion, now that you've done it, do you actually think that, there are times where that 10 hours would be needed? And I'm not necessarily talking for a celebrity or something like that, but, the bucket list person type of thing to do that sort of thing. What's your take on that?
For bucket list, I'd probably go a little shorter. However, I might do a 14-hour one in 2021 on October 1st. Because that is the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, and they can very quickly get me to everything.
That's a good point. I mean, the fact of the matter is that would definitely be a very special day to have that type of treatment. And and
I think that's a great day to just tick off the bucket list. It's a special day anyway, and the question comes down to, like, can you and your group afford it? Because it's not cheap, but it's 14 hours. Let's say it's 7 hours minimum, 14 hours, 700 a person. Only one day is the 50th.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, hey, think about it this way: you kind of know about it now. The fact of the matter is, you can start saving for it now. That's a really good point. I didn't quite think about that. I mean, that obviously is a very big expenditure, but I like the idea. I could think that would be something that, if I was going to go for that particular day, and I have no idea, ladies and gentlemen, if that's going to be the case, but I could see myself actually, saying, fine, I'm going to dip into my daughter's college fund and go ahead and hit that up. So, yeah. So Mary was also saying, yeah, after saying that, I think 7 would be good. Kelly was also asking, do you tip the guides?
So gratuity is not included in the price. They do accept tips. They're one of the few groups that do accept tips. Yes, I did. And I got to be honest with you, I had no idea what to tip. I sat there and Googled reading other people's accounts, and I saw people as little as, we gave them $100 or $200 a day back in 2013. And then I saw other people in 2015 going, yeah, we just gave them 500. So trying to do the conversion, probably going for 4.
Yeah.
Because just say 500 an hour, 7 hours, that's $3,500. The 10% tip is $350. But it's above a concierge experience. I mean, it is a VIP. You are being guided. There's a lot of little things that happen. For instance, we left Toy Story Land to go get air conditioning at one point. And we just happened to stop at ABC because we know it's always cold and there's usually seats. The second week, she's like, yeah, okay, you guys go get your food. And he went and found tables. And he made it like very obvious that, like, hey, you're not going to be sitting here. I got a group coming.
Yeah. And, the interesting part is when you said, I'm going to be over at the commissary, I'm like, cool, I'm going to go see if I can find Bryan really quick. And we must have been, kind of went like this because I didn't see anything like that. Yeah, it was one of those things. Now, I want to make sure I got some clarification here. Aaron kind of made mention. He's like, wow, 7 hours times $500. But you said it was $350 a person for 7 hours, right?
Correct.
Okay, so it's not $500. Yeah, so it's not $350 an hour. It's $350 for the 7 hour block.
Correct.
Okay.
So we had 10 people. 10 people divided by 3,500 is $350 a person.
Yeah. Okay.
Or vice versa. Yeah. Math is not my strong point.
But at least if nothing else, that really does help people realize it's not hundreds of dollars per hour. It's per session of certain number of hours. So it does break down a little bit easier. And that's one place where the other tours get a little bit easier because one, you don't pay for 10 people and you only pay per head. So if there's, like, let's say you want to do something special and do like mother, son, father, daughter, maybe it's a mixed age group and you want to have a really great surprise for the teenager or something. Like you can do one of the other tours for some are 4 hours, some are 7 hours. And that's like, I think they're $250 a person. Mm-hmm. And that's not too bad to get a taste of what the VIP group is like. And that's something that my wife and I have always talked about, what tour would be cool to do during a trip. Now, my son is not quite old enough to do some of the tours because some of the tours do have minimum age limits. Not to mention that I'm not really sure he would really want to do a tour until he's a little bit older. I mean, we've done very small tours, like we have done the Behind the Seeds tour, which is everybody asks, what's a good first tour? That's a fabulous good first tour, just because it's small, it's cute, and it's very informative. And sometimes if you're the only group, you have a cast member that'll go over the amount of time that you're supposed to be there. And those cast members love what they do. I think it's absolutely fabulous. Faith was saying that she thinks the Animal Kingdom tour seems amazing. And I'll be honest with you, Faith, I was going to do that tour. Unfortunately, that is the one tour that has a weight limit. It's like 300 pounds or something like that.
So which tour are you talking about? Because there's actually two Animal Kingdom tours.
Oh, there are.
One is not done by the VIP group. So Keys to the Kingdom, Marcelinda Magic, Behind the Seeds, a couple of the other ones. That's actually not the VIP group. Right. Basically, if it's an inexpensive tour, it's not the VIP group. Right. If it has VIP in the name, it is. Right. So what you're probably thinking of is the Wild Trek Africa or something, yes, where you do the harnesses?
Yes, and I realize that's not a VIP tour, but I was just kind of commenting on what she was saying in regards to one of the other tours that were available.
Okay. Yeah, but the VIP group does have a night tour where it's concentrating on the rides and the shows around Animal Kingdom.
And I think that's really cool. Although, there are some shows that, only have daytime type showings, which those are the ones that I'm still wanting to actually go see myself. But hey, in time, I'll get all of them taken care of. We didn't get a chance to do as much touring around Animal Kingdom as I really wanted to during our last trip, to be honest with you. But that's what the next trip is for, is what I always like to say. Let's see. Mary was actually asking, and you briefly touched on this, can they get you parade viewing without having to wait, like walking up right
yes.
before it starts? Yep.
Yes, you would walk up like seconds before it would come past you, or maybe within 5 minutes. Depends on what you were doing beforehand, obviously.
Right. You would almost have to think about your strategy as much as what they're going to do for you.
Yeah, pretty much. And then there is some stuff they can't do. For instance, if you decided you want to be our guest, they can't suddenly make a table appear. They will try, though. The group will try to get you in. Okay. But you want to really be pre-planned like a regular day. The only thing you don't have to worry about is how do you get between stuff. You're going to be in every fast pass line. Real knowledgeable. If you're going to park hop, they're going to take you backstage and drive you backstage roads to the next park.
See, I think that's good to know. It's, in other words, it's not going to magically make some of those things happen that, you still need to plan for them. I think that's a really good thing to know. Just in case someone was thinking, oh, if I do a VIP tour, I'm going to be able to get in to have, dinner at Cinderella Castle. So.
No, they can't guarantee that. They'll try, but they don't guarantee that. And they warn you at the time you book.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Nicole was actually asking, can the VIP tour take you to tour like the Utilidors, like the Keys to the Kingdom tour does? Do you happen to know that?
I've never been in one, but technically, yes. They won't specifically take you to a Utilidors thing. That would be more of like I'll just give an example. Katy Perry always pops up on social media as she visited.
Yeah.
Her and her group would be escorted through the Utilidors to get between places.
Sure.
Because there's a safety risk to have her walk through the hub. It's also why all the pictures are always in the same corner of Cinderella's castle, because it's a spot they can close off.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, that I could.
Now, there's one thing they can do. They can take you to go see the Royal Suite if it is open. Basically meaning if no one's occupied it or they're not doing any kind of renovation or anything.
Right. Okay. Now that would be really kind of cool to see that, if that was something that you wish to do and if it was open to do so.
They might also do the Waltz apartment, but I mean technically it's not Waltz apartment. So I don't know if it's still there, but I know at one point that was one of the things you could do with them.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know, it's above, was it City Hall? It's so much like Disneyland. Walt had an actual apartment, and there's a light left on the window. There was one built for him, although he never occupied it.
Right. Very true. Let's see. I'm kind of just strolling through this a little bit. Let's see. Joanne was saying, wanted to avoid Walt Disney World during the 50th celebration. Also wanted to do my daughter's golden birthday at Walt Disney World, which happens in 2021. Yeah, that would be a challenge. Let's see. Oh, but Mary also asks, have you, going off the VIP tour topic for a second, she'd like to know if you've actually done the steam train tour.
That's one of the tours I haven't. Basically, anytime I've kind of want to do, now this is kind of a back and forth. Usually the train's been down, and sometimes they stop that tour. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to catch it, and I'm kind of hoping they have to stop the trains for a couple days to build Tron. And I think I'm going to try to do it when they actually shut it down again, because I'd love to be back there when all the trains are back there.
Oh, that would be kind of cool. Because there's like 3 trains or 4 trains, I think.
I think there's 3 engines. There might even be a 4th, but I know there's 3 that they've had out at the same time.
I remember the 3 because, I mean, especially it comes out, especially when all 3 are functioning, are working order, and when they're trying to, move guests around during peak season. So yeah, that I could see that. Kevin mentions that he wishes they did a monorail tour. I'm sure my wife would totally agree with that.
If you don't know, the monorail's parked directly above the steam trains. They're the same roundhouse.
Really?
Yeah, it's so the steam trains are on the ground level, mm-hmm. and then raised up on their regular tracks is the monorails above them.
Right. Yeah, I do remember seeing the monorail barn during my accidental tour backstage.
Oh, by the way, that's a public road. You can drive that. Anyone can.
Oh, I know.
So if you ever want to, just drive right past Contemporary, keep going. When you see the big giant power plant on your left, make sure you look right. That's where the trains and the monorails are.
Yeah, there is a sign that says cast members only, but you're right. It is a public road.
That street's actually public. That's a public road to Windermere.
Yeah. So
they do don't go during fireworks. They do close the road down for safety.
Yeah, and it gets, oh man, I remember going through there, and I think one time I was trying to get to the Polynesian or something, and for some reason the GPS basically said, oh, you got to go this way. I'm like, okay, fine, I went this way. That's a dark road, man. That could be a dark road. It's like outside of some of the regular lights, it's like it gets dark out here really fast.
But it's also interesting to see like the train crossings and stuff, because they do drive in and out from there.
Yeah, it does. It's really kind of interesting. Let's see. I'm kind of just I'm flipping through some comments. These are great comments and great questions. Let's see. I know there's some conversation about monorail crawls, which got my wife's attention. Chris is actually I'm sorry.
I can add. So the monorail crawl, this is not a VIP tour thing. There is an actual, was it Highway in the Sky or something? I think it's called, where you go to all the different monorail stops. Right. I actually don't recommend doing that. I recommend you do it on your own, because you don't actually go into these bars and restaurants. For instance, Poly. Did you go through Poly at all when you were on your last trip?
I did. Yes, I did.
Did you see the set of tables next to the monorail entrance?
Actually, no. I wasn't on the second floor for that. Wait, hold on.
Okay, So on the second floor in the hallway right next to the entrance is kind of a bunch of standing tables that are blocked by those rolling plants.
Okay.
That's where your stop would be for that particular I guess we'll call it a tour, because technically it's a tour.
Yeah, because I mean it's one of those things where I heard that's all they do is they kind of do the samplings of different things. I didn't think that you actually went to the different venues themselves, that it was there. They would bring it to you basically.
Yeah, but once you look at the price and stuff, you could do it yourself at half the time for a lot less money. Now, one place where it is a big plus, they do go into Bay Lake Tower for the fireworks at the very end. Okay. They don't go all the way to the roof. They go one floor down. Mm-hmm. Danny could probably explain it better, because I've actually never been there.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're referring to. Yeah, and
Explain what? Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh no,
What am I explaining better?
The two different fireworks spots at the top of the Bay Lake Tower. Like one's on the roof and one's one floor down or something.
Yeah, it's really it's weird. I've only ever made it because the top of the world is obviously the top of the world.
Yes.
That's one's on the top of the building. The one below you is almost like a party deck that sticks out a little bit. Everybody I've talked to, no one knows how to get on that floor. So I'm not really sure what I mean. Maybe is it cast members? Maybe it's a room. Maybe it's one of those like club level rooms. Maybe a presidential suite.
There is no.
I don't know, but I you know what? I've never asked, and I'm pretty nosy. I'm surprised I've never asked.
I may have to ask when I go out there because there is no club level for that particular building.
Okay.
That and there's grand villas, but that I know of, but there's I don't think there is a concierge level there. I could be wrong. Someone I'm sure will be more than happy to tell me. But the thing is, my wife is. We've done our own little monorail crawl, except instead of high-end drinks and, eats, we just go and grab whatever we want. We'll get a Dole Whip over at the Polynesian, or we'll eat over at Captain Cook's. And like last time we ate at Captain Cook's and watched fireworks, and then we went over to the Contemporary and actually ate over there some actual dinner, things like that. It was really pretty cool. Chris is actually kind of speculating. He's like, I wonder if they'll do a club, do Club 33. And I'm assuming as a tour when it opens. So that ought to be kind of interesting. But I'm going to speculate. Maybe not, considering it's going to be so exclusive.
Well, Club 33 is already open, and I doubt the tour is going to go there because I don't think they do it in Disneyland either. Now, that doesn't mean Tables in Wonderland or someone won't try to do something special in it.
Sure, I can understand.
I'd be curious to see all that. What's going to happen?
Yeah, I would too. It would really could be.
Yeah, and actually, none of the restaurant sites are open right now. It's just the two lounges. For those of you who don't know Club 33 in Disneyland, it started as a lounge, and then they later added a second restaurant to it. And it's all the same entrance, but there's two different rooms above two different buildings. What they're doing in Disney World is some of the parks, it's a lounge only. And right now, Epcot and Hollywood Studios is opened. I know people who have been in them, and they said, yeah, it's very much a lounge. There is some food, but no one's saying anything above that.
I hear you.
However, Magic Kingdom is supposed to be a full restaurant.
Ooh. I don't know why I'm getting excited. I'm never getting inside, but...
You have a podcast. Someone might eventually invite you.
Eventually, yeah. I mean, I don't want to hold my breath. Chris, get on that.
Yes.
We need a PR. We need a campaign strictly to get Uncle Danny and Mr. Chris into Club 33.
Oh,
let's do it.
Believe me, the marketing has already started. I mean, after all, there's a lot of cool things that are going to be coming on the pipe, especially on Thursdays. As I said, it's going to be Special Feature Thursday, and we're going to do our best to keep that rolling for as long as we can. But that's an entirely different topic. Don't leave us, Danny.
I was going to say, Danny, can you throw Faith's comment back up there about the holiday?
Monorail crawl at Christmas would be fun.
So they actually do a Christmas store. It's called Dlights, or it used to be called Dlights. I think it changed a little bit, and it used to be Osborne. It used to be all the different evening entertainments in one hit, in one 2-hour hit,
right?
Which I think actually included dinner. I want to say it was dinner, then you did the candlelight processional, then you shot over to Osborne Lights, then you hopped over to Magic Kingdom for their Christmas fireworks or something. All
within 2 hours?
I want to say it was 2 or 3 hours. It was real fast.
3 hours, I can understand. 2 hours, I mean, and dinner. I think that that would be. Here, eat dinner while you're watching the candlelight processional.
I mean, they still do them. I didn't find it worth the price last year because the Osborne. However, they've already started announcing the new stuff coming this year, so maybe this year will be better.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Well, we'll have to see how that turns out.
So I know I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it because I was I was intrigued to see what you had to say about it. So, quick synopsis: did you think it was worth it to go the VIP tour? Was the money worth it?
I'm kind of on the fence. If I did another day, I would have said no.
Okay.
There was something special. There was just a lot of things that lined up really well, and it was a bucket list item for me. I happened to have the budget for it. So it wasn't like I had to find the budget. I had another trip that was canceled for weather. So the money was there to spend. The downside is it was one day. I think where I'm a little negative against it is not that the amount of cost. It's that I had to go to work right afterwards. So like I couldn't stay the rest of the day and just finish the day myself.
Okay. Was it an all day thing though?
It was 7 hours, and we started at 8 a.m.
Okay.
7 hours was the minimum.
That's still good. And that was right to the front of the line of everything?
So it was right to the Fast Pass line. However, Chris could probably attest to this. They're not giving out Fast Passes yet. There's nobody in the Fast Pass lines in Toy Story. That's one of the reasons the lines are going so fast.
For some reason, they did some sort of Fast Passes during the soft opening because they did push them through the Fast Pass, some people through the Fast Pass line. However, I think that those were, I'm not sure how that happened. And I didn't see any, I didn't see any plaid vests or anything like that, but there were a few. And when
you got in line for Aliens, was there anyone in line with you for Fast Pass, or was it just your family?
Just my family. Yeah,
there is some out there, but it's not a normal Fast Pass amount yet.
And we got those right at 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
so in essence, yes, it was like front of the line, but it's because Toy Story had no Fast Pass in the line.
But it's not real front of the line. It's not like they bring you up the exit and just put you on the next row of cars. Okay.
Yeah, it works that way. Now you might be able to buy into that.
Okay.
I have been. I won a charity thing that involved riding Little Mermaid with the Little Mermaid.
Oh, okay, cool.
And for that one, her VIP tour guys brought you in the back and right on. You went in the exit. I've also seen other groups going in the exits. Basically, if you see a group of people going in the exits, they have front of line access.
Okay.
So
now Kevin brings up a good point. I'm sorry, Chris. I didn't mean to walk over you there. Now, we had heard the rumors. I know people were touching on it. Were they taking this option away to do VIP tours? I would be shocked if they allowed VIP tours during Galaxy's Edge.
You mean
I'm shocked if they were cheap.
Really? So you think they'll still do them? Yeah.
I don't see why you wouldn't.
Or are you referring, Danny, to like opening day?
I mean opening day. I'm not saying ever. I'm just talking strictly opening day. I feel like there would be like a blackout. Like, because even with opening day, it's not Toy Story opening day. This is Galaxy's Edge. Star Wars community is way larger than the Toy Story community.
So I'm actually kind of mixed on that because we're going to have the same rise as Disneyland gets 6 months earlier. I don't know if I do VIP for that because I don't necessarily want to get in the lines. I want to feel the atmosphere.
But are you really feeling an atmosphere at shoulder to shoulder, a couple thousand people deep in a small park?
That's part of the atmosphere.
that is part of opening day, but they're also really good at not. Toy Story, they pushed it a little bit at the beginning. By the time Chris got there, they got the right mix of how big the crowd should be.
Yeah.
But they don't. You're not watching the fireworks is 100 times worse shoulder to shoulder than going into an opening day.
Because, I mean, we were at Pandora the following week of it opening, right? 1 week?
It was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Not even 2 weeks.
We were shoulder to shoulder at some points in the middle of the afternoon. Not at night. At night, it trimmed down. But at night, we still lost people at night because it's just too dark, and that's a story for another day. But during the day, maybe you weren't sardines like this, but, I mean, you weren't just swinging away having a jolly good time at Animal Kingdom.
Well, now that so a lot of Pandora is a lot of really skinny pathways, so they could run a longer queue.
Okay.
Now that that's gone, the shoulder to shoulder has kind of disappeared. I'm not saying it doesn't get congested in the picture spots. Toy Story is more spread out though, and Star Wars looks like it's going to be really spread out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So really I don't think it's going to be like Pandora where everyone is going to be underneath the mountain trying to get pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and
well, that's the problem. A lot of the picture. I'm sorry, Chris. I keep doing that tonight. The most of the pictures at Pandora are literally right underneath there.
Yeah, and the thing of it is that I think with Toy Story Land, they have done a really good job with, at least during opening day, they did a really good job with throttling the number of people that were in there at any given period of time. I never felt super crowded, even during the soft opening Friday night. Yes, it was busy, but I still stood in line for an hour and 15 minutes for Slinky Dog. But I never felt like it was out of control. Not like when they opened, Pixar Pier over at Disney's California Adventure, and all you see in a picture are just the tops of people's heads. I was like, that was pretty insane. But I do want to use that as my segue for this question for you, Brian. The question is this: if you were there at opening for opening day, did they do anything for a formal ribbon cutting, so to speak, or for that opening day, or did they actually do that all for the media events that were the few days before?
They've moved it all to the media days, which is the one thing I hate. I used to go for those things specifically, but yeah, they've moved that all to media days.
Yeah.
Although I discovered they were a little loose with the media tickets, and I wish I knew that sooner. I didn't try to get any. They apparently had 3 different sets of tickets, and one of them was like, you're a friend of someone in the media.
Oh,
so
wow.
you come in at 4 p.m. on. Basically, they were the last group that were in right before they soft opened, and they had a couple hours, and then they soft opened it.
Well, I mean, I was listening to a radio station in Atlanta, and I mean, a radio disc jockey. I mean, she is literally I'm going to phrase this very nicely. Please don't take it literally. She's a nobody in the Disney community. You're a disc jockey in Atlanta who plays pop music. She got a media pass to go in the Toy Story.
Yeah, there's
they were just hand them out like candy.
Unfortunately, that's it's the one con of Disney embracing the media community and opening up the rides and stuff to more cameras. Unfortunately, they've pulled some of the really good opening day, I was there special things, and they're not there anymore.
That's what I was kind of hoping for. I mean, yes, I bought a really cool pin that basically, was kind of along the lines of, opening day type of thing. But I was hoping, like what they've done for some other things, to get some kind of, even if it was a button or something like that. When they opened up Pandora, they had all these different buttons that people got for opening day or even opening couple days and so on and so forth. But the thing is like, no, if there was no hoopla during opening day, it's like, okay, it was just general guest admission. And, but if everything example, Tim Allen was there, but he was not there for opening day. He was there for the media event. That type of thing.
And then they also had a morning or something where they brought military families in,
which is great.
I've seen videos of that floating, which I think is wonderful,
which is fantastic.
Oh, God, yeah.
I would never ever speak poorly on that at all. I think that is absolutely fabulous. I think that's very generous. But I guess that was the thing. Let's put it this way. I was telling my kids, I go, listen, I bet you any money there's going to be something really cool for opening day. And there really wasn't. And I mean, and that's not a knock. It's an observation. And you can't say that I'm knocking it because it is an actual observation. I'm absolutely true and right and correct when I say that. But, I was really hoping that there would be a little bit more hoopla over opening day. But you know what? I'll say this. Disney did a fantastic job of taking care of crowds, keeping the guest happy, keeping this guest smiling, even though you had to wait in line for an hour to get your tachos. The fact of the matter is that the cast members did a fabulous job at, making everybody happy. It was fabulous.
That is the one thing our group skipped because we didn't want to pay an hour to wait to get food and then sit down and eat.
That's understandable.
Which is why we took off for ABC, even though we really didn't want quick service. It was there, cold and nearby. And the plus with the VIP guide, and this is where it really paid off for this day, we walked right back in.
Yeah.
So when we were ready to go back in and try to do Slinky Dog one more time, we just walked right past everyone because the guide is your walking fast pass.
That's cool.
And you're absolutely right. You know, granted, it's not that way anymore in the sense of, you know, throttling of crowds. But on opening day, that was one big thing, is that once you got in there, you stayed in there. You know, you didn't try to do anything else. You just stayed in there. You know, in essence, you probably could have gotten away with, you know, going to like the area where one man's dream is, and so on. I don't know. I'm guessing. But in essence, once you were there, you did what you wanted to do. You saw what you wanted to see. You bought what you wanted to buy. You ate what you wanted to eat. You went into the cool bathrooms, and that's it. And then you did what you got to do, and then you walked out and you did the other things. But yeah, I think
with the food and stuff, it slowed some people down from leaving. Also, it was really hard to leave. They had to open up. You weren't there for this. I actually think I posted a picture of it where they opened the gates, which basically gave you the best photo opportunity ever of Star Wars Land being built. And
I saw that picture. Yeah.
They used the backstage area for an exit. And they opened that door, and I just started laughing because you saw every vlogger, everything else. There were people that were way on the other side that saw that door open. And I've never seen so many people run that fast, and not a single person left.
Yeah. I mean, but also, let's face it, like shortly after you and I talked, the storms came that day. And I even
cleared everyone out.
Oh my gosh. It was horrible.
How long did you stay out there? Because we were actually in the Slinky Dog line. The one thing you haven't discussed, and I don't know if you didn't because you haven't seen it, there's no inside to the Fast Pass Slinky Dog line. It's a very small line. You basically cut the corner and you're at the new version of a split, because they're doing a split differently. They've actually started lining people up differently since opening day also. There's a little bit different on that ride. But we were just before where we could get out of the rain, and we decided to hold off for about 10 or 15 minutes. It was when we looked at the radar going, oh yeah, we better run. Because we realized that this was not going to be short.
Yeah.
But I was surprised how many people with no umbrellas just stood there.
They weren't going to pass it up. And I tell you the truth,
no one was moving.
I don't blame them. And it was a torrential downpour for a good half an hour. I went live during that time, and it was so noisy. I was actually wondering if people actually heard me.
Is that the one where you went back to the Starbucks?
Yeah, and I was gone there because my wife was buying me my Starbucks "You Are Here" alien mug, and I thought that was really cool of her.
What?
What?
What did you get? Where is it? I want to see it.
It's downstairs.
You disappoint me. I come for one thing. One thing only I was here for, is see the merch. That's all I want. I wanted all the... I was very disappointed with the merch.
Why is everybody asking me if, like, my family got merch? I'm like, you know, my family was just happy to be there. And, you know, we did not do a lot of merch shopping. I'll be really honest with you.
What were those stupid headbands they were doing?
You mean like
the Slinky Dog ones?
Yeah.
They were selling out left and right. They were
ugly. It's almost as dumb as the stupid bird that did for Avatar. Like, I'm like...
Oh, you mean the banshees on your shoulder?
Stupid thing.
The funny part is John wanted one of those banshees. And you know, he's like, I'm really kind of interested in one of those banshees. And he kind of looked at it and he goes, He goes, how much are they? I'm like, well, it's like $75 or something, John. He goes, nah, that's okay. You know, I'm like,
I only recently picked up one of those, and it was the one day only 20th anniversary ones, because I figure in 20 years it'll be like,
that
you know, hey, I didn't save enough for retirement. Who wants it?
Yeah, but see, like, I know someone, Alex, that like the alien necklace. They've had the alien necklace for like 3 years now, though.
Yeah, I saw
that alien necklace has been around, because I've almost bought it on 3 separate occasions because I wanted to hang it from here and run it down. Yeah. So trust me, when it comes to Toy Story merch, I'm all over. I was disappointed.
Well, you know, the thing is that, you know, we couldn't, because we flew, we didn't like have a whole bunch of extra space in order to just buy merch. Believe me, if Dizdruk 1 was sitting in the parking lot, Oh yeah. I would have put stuff on top of Diz Truck 1. I mean, but the thing is that it just didn't happen. We had people ask us, hey, could you bring this back? Hey, could you buy me this? Hey, I'll pay you shipping, blah, blah, blah. We're like, no, we can't. Sorry. I love you dearly. But the answer is no. Sorry.
Well, you also went the Disney style before you hit Toy Story Land, so I'm sure you already had an extra suitcase worth.
No, unfortunately, there was a few things that were purchased there by my daughter and stuff like that, and I really want to go back there. And they had a couple things. I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
That's they're starting to get to the kind of merch people actually want.
Well, it's the thing. The fun part about it is like, now, granted, I realize we're totally deviating off of things, and we're only got a few minutes left of the show. But the interesting part to it is that the fun part about Disney style is that there's a lot of not cosplay, Disney bounding type of clothes that you can do. So if you want to have that Disney character themed clothing, you can do that, and you can do it relatively easily. And I know that is the big thing now. And I actually am trying to think of ways to do Disney bounding. I actually want to try to do like a Disney bound of Gaston type of thing. But we'll have to figure out how that's going to go. But no, that's a fabulous thing. Mr. Chris, you had 5 people and you could have checked 10 bags. They would have lost 5 more of your bags. I'll tell you, that was a fluke. I can almost guarantee you. Although I will say this though, both times that I've ever lost bags had Midway Airport related somehow. I'm just saying, could it be just Midway Airport is my curse? I don't know. So, want to show off your new mug, Chris? Yeah. So if my wife is still watching this, and if she would like to come over here and show me for me to show my mug, I'll be.
I'm gonna freak out.
I heard just a few moments ago. I heard something go down the stairs. I'm assuming it's either my wife or my son. Chances are she told my son, "Hey, go get this for Dad." Oh, John has it here.
They actually changed all the mugs. It is not limited to Disney. Starbucks actually rolled out a whole bunch of new mugs everywhere.
Really?
Like there's all new Central Florida, Orlando ones.
Oh, I
saw
saw
they
someone
just happened to
posted
show up that same day.
I did see someone posted about that.
Well, the Starbucks around here, I'm sure it's a nationwide thing, but they've been heavily renovating all the Starbucks here.
Awesome.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
There's a knock at my door.
All right, let me solo Chris out here.
Okay. So, typical. So
It's actually a nice box.
It is.
A little flimsy, but nice.
Well, it survived.
Oh.
Here you go.
Oh, it's not as flimsy. Just the top part looks.
Just the top part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm not that upset about it.
This is one of the coolest flippin' Starbucks mugs I have. I will say, I love the other ones. I think this is just so cool. I no longer drink too much Starbucks coffee in of itself. I still like their teas and stuff like that, mainly because I find their coffees bitter compared to other brands such as Expedition Roasters, and it's a cool green on the inside. Look at that.
What's the price of that one?
You know what? It's not
The
on
box
here. Let's the box. Funny, the box doesn't have it either. I think my wife. She said it was like 15.
Because I know the tall ones with the Mickey, they're like 30.
Yeah, they're really expensive, and but yeah, actually, I've got basically pretty much all of them. Again, it's a lot easier to. One year I got at least the first four of them. They came out into parks mainly because, well, again, we had the truck sitting outside. I was able to bring it home. Nancy basically just mentioned, that's that it was available before. But it was way more lovely than the last Starbucks mug, which was downright ugly. Yeah, a lot of them are just, it's artistic license if you want to know the truth. But yeah, I like my mugs. I've also been doing the collecting of the Mickey Through the Ages mugs that the Disney Store has been doing. That's been that's been rather fun as well. So, but well, I'll tell you what, Brian, do you have any last minute tips, thoughts about VIP tours? And if not, I would like for you to feel free to plug your social media outlets.
Okay, well, for the VIP tour, remember, it's not just renting someone per the hour. There are some specialized tours. They're cheaper. Find special occasions like birthday. Maybe you have a child that can't ride the fast rides, and you can do them all in one hit with one of the parents, something special for them when they're at that age. And in my social media, I'm on pretty much YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram as Orlando Theme Park 360. No spaces, so if you search for spaces, you may not find me. Also on Twitter, that's ORL Theme Park 360. Apparently, Twitter has a handle limit, and my name was too long.
And I will say, my son just absolutely loves your 360 videos. I mean, it's one of the first stuff that he saw, and he still looks through them using his Google Cardboard on his phone. Absolutely loves your work, Brian. It's absolutely fabulous quality.
Oh, thank you. I actually felt bad. I had a set of mini goggles on me that I could have gave him. I realized it after it started raining.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. All righty, everybody. Danny, I think we're going to go ahead and take it away.
All right.
You heard the show, and we hope you want more. Well, feel free to join us over at our social media platforms. Instagram and our Facebook page can be found at Behind the Ears Podcast. Our webpage is behindtheearspodcast.net, and our email is behindtheearspodcast@gmail.com. And our Twitter handle is @BehindTheEarsPC. And come and join the conversation about all things Disney over at the WDW community page. Don't forget to rate and review the show over at iTunes or Apple Podcasts, as it really helps us get the word out about the show. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or the Podbean app. Also, you can listen to us on Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and via Alexa and Google Home.
With that being said, everybody, thank you for tuning in to another live recording of Behind the Ears Podcast. I am Uncle Danny. That was Mr. Chris, our special guest, Mr. Bryan Socha. We want to thank him for coming on tonight and talking about his fantastic VIP tour of Toy Story Land. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, people. Download the show. 5-star reviews, click the like button. You know what to do. I am Uncle Danny. I hope you all have a safe and wonderful weekend. Until next Tuesday, I'm outie.
And I'm Mr. Chris. Thank you so much for joining us. As Danny just also mentioned, we really appreciate your support for the show. And by all means, if you have any questions, comments, or a show idea, drop us a line, behindthearspodcast@gmail.com. But until we meet again, we hope to see you again very, very soon. But until then, have a great and magical day. Take care.